And we're on. All right. Happy Sunday, everybody. Whoever's tuning in now or later. I guess if you're watching, it's now. So happy Sunday. Or Monday. Or Tuesday, possibly Wednesday, Thursday. It's early here. It's 6:38 in the a.m. here in Los Angeles, California. Home of the sun, East Side Bakery. This is COVFEFE with KevinlyFather. I'm your KevinlyFather, your host this morning. I'm not really hosting anything. This is how COVFEFE works. Whatever I want to happen may happen. It's early. I drink my COVFEFE. We take a look at things. I don't even know if I'm broadcasting right now because YouTube is behaving in a very strange manner. Let's see what's going on. Facebook hasn't worked in a couple of months. I should probably just stop forever, really, when it comes right down. I should probably stop and try and re-add Facebook. I just wrote a chat message to Restream saying, hey, you changed your format. Now I can't broadcast on YouTube like I want to broadcast. I'm still demonetized on YouTube. Oh, no, I think it's just you and me, Sean. I think you're the only one awake right now. So I'm counting this as a test. Oh, there we are. Oh, woe is me. So we're not doing low latency, super low latency. So there's more of a delay. Let me. How do I even count this? I don't have fingers right now. Hold on. I'm gonna see if I can count without the fingers. There we go. Good morning. Let me count, and then we'll see what happens here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Wow. You guys are 7 seconds behind real time. What the hell, technology? Let's go back to my shark. There, I feel better now. How are you, Sean? I saw you try and get into the Google chat room yesterday, and I let you in, but you never were there. And it was sad, and we all cried together. 2 people are watching right now, so that's you and me. It's too early for anything else. Marcy's not here, which is weird because Marcy's almost always here, but it's 3 o'clock in the morning in Hawaii right now, so I can forgive her for that. Everyone else should be sleeping, even those on the West Coast. So we watched, for our special Zoom movie last night, we watched Knives Out. I didn't. I was quite busy, actually. So speaking of busy, let's see what we should be scared of this morning. I'm guessing crime, but let's go to the Fucks and Friends and see what they're saying we need to be outraged by and or frightened by this morning.
Monday morning here on Fox and Friends. Will Kane, Pete Hegseth, and Rachel Campos Duffy. Glad you're with us this morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
You know who else was with us? Todd Pyro. Speaking of sea to shining sea, he's right there on the Atlantic Ocean in Long Beach, New York, at the Laurel Diner. Great town, Long Beach, New York. I'm a big fan.
Oh, these are my favorite days. When they speak to people in diners, because really, first off, you've got yourself an audience who's willing to go and sit with other people right now. Sean, you know in the UK, everyone's dead from the Delta virus. And here in the States, it's the same thing, really. Everybody's getting the Delta variant. So Israel just released another study. They said previously that the first study that they released said the Pfizer vaccine was about 64% effective against getting the Delta variant. Now, if you get the Delta variant, you're still in your 90s against ending up in the hospital or death. The new study said 88% ending up in the hospital. They got 1 in 14, 1 in 15 chance of ending up in the hospital, which is good. Only about a 33% chance of not catching the variant, the Delta variant, if it's nearby. So 2 out of 3 times, even fully vaccinated people are going to catch this Delta variant, which is why it is skyrocketing all over the place. Still, much better than not being vaccinated. Still, across the United States, 99.5% of the people that are dying haven't been vaccinated. Almost everybody who goes into the hospital has a... So I'm preaching to the choir here. You're the only one, just in case someone's watching later. Did you get a notification that we were on, Sean, or we? Essentially, you and me. That's it. We get to see a diner thing today, which is what I'm excited about.
Blue collar town, fireman town, NYPD town. What do you have for us this morning, Todd?
When you think Sunday, Will, of course you think church, right? You also think
Nope.
Fox and Friends weekend with Will, Rachel,
Nope.
and Pete. But
Nope.
I know, Pete, you think bacon. And we got a lot of bacon. We've got a whole
I think bacon at all times. So
lot of bacon. That's the most bacon I've ever seen on one grill at any one time during any diner segment. We have some potatoes, but again, overshadowed by the bacon. But as you know, it's not just about the food. We're going to be talking to the folks here about the issues of the day. And boy, are there a lot of issues in our world today. Can't wait to get into it with the folks here. Looking forward to it. Here for the next 4 hours along with you guys. It's going to be a great day.
Thank you,
Back
Todd.
to you guys. Happy Sunday.
Happy
right.
Sunday.
I think this is our first as the Fox and
all right, well, that gives us a chance to move forward with our lives and to go see what people in diners have to think, what people in Long Beach in diners have to think. That would be like 6 a.m. there, too. So these are people that wake up early, apparently like myself.
Friends diner historian, probably our first Sunday diner ever.
Is that right?
Yes.
I don't know. I don't know if that's right or not, but cool. We never get diners. Do you still support Trump? Are you scared of the border right now?
Todd, it's all you, man. Congratulations.
I feel like we've done a Sunday diner during campaign season, no?
Maybe. That's true. That's the asterisk on
Like
it.
following a rally?
I think you could be right. We'll have to check.
Okay, well, then great. I think it's the first time we've ever done a Sunday segment on diners. Oh, I think we have before. Okay, well, maybe.
The tape, Todd.
All right.
Thank you.
We're just
Maybe
going to ask a lot of questions all day long and not have answers. That's the next 4 hours.
Journalism. We'll be checking in with you this morning several times. Thanks so much, Todd.
Thanks, Todd.
That's Tucker Carlson's show every night.
All right, turning now to the international outrage growing over vaccine passports. Thousands protesting in London just days after COVID restrictions.
The outrage over passports. Hey, we'd like to know if you've been vaccinated so that we know that the people here who have been vaccinated are safe. No, how dare you? How dare you try and feel safe?
Were lifted in England.
And there were similar protests across Italy. Thousands rallied against the country's green pass that will be required at restaurants and movie theaters.
160,000 people protested. A similar quote.
I'm no surprise that Italy has issued the passport because Italy, if you remember, was overwhelmed. Their hospitals overflowed. The doctors there had to make decisions who's going to live and who's going to die.
Pass in France, police fired tear gas on rowdy protesters
Sean, which vaccine did you get?
at the Paris rally. And in Australia, thousands chanted freedom over lockdown restrictions amid another surge in COVID cases. I'm very interested in
Now, Australia, I don't know. Is anybody in here watching in Australia? Oh, we've got a few people watching right now. We might have a couple of Aussies in here. I know you guys are like 6 months ahead of us, but you guys had completely eliminated the virus in Australia. Australia did an absolutely amazing job, continued to do an amazing job. The new lockdown in Sydney and regions thereof is not very effective against the Delta variant. The previous lockdowns have been incredibly effective. Of course lockdowns work. Of course they work. This is a virus that spreads person to person. How do you stop the virus from spreading? Don't be near other people. It is a no-brainer. And the people with no brains don't get it. So there's a misconnection there somewhere. You would think this would be a syllogism, but it's just a syllogism. Speaking of syllogism, it has been a while since Anyway, let's move on. This is a Sunday Morning Family Show.
this story, Pete and Rachel. It's something I just talked about on the latest episode of the Will Cain podcast because I believe...
Oh, hold on. There's a Will Cain podcast? Let's go find that right now. No, you know what? No.
And you have, on so many occasions, pointed to Europe as the canary in the coal mine, the indicator of where we're headed. This is where we are headed. I predict that within the next 2...
Okay, look at the numbers. It's so insane, Sean, because we knew what was going to happen because we could see what was happening in India. And then the UK got it because they didn't pay attention to what was happening in India. So then we could see what was happening in the UK, and we're like, well... Maybe we should do so. No, let's just keep on keeping on. And now it's happening here in the States. We had at least two good warnings about the Delta variant, just as we did with all the variants. Have you heard of Kate Sheramani? She's an ex-nurse turned anti-vaxxer. No, I haven't. But friends in Australia, if you're in Australia, stay inside. But no, what happens with the Delta variant is you used to be able to avoid the different variants by just staying away from people and or being in spaces for limited times, wearing a mask, etc. With the Delta variant, you can just walk by some place that someone has been, and if there's still virus in the area, you catch it.
Months, we will have massive debates, not just about vaccination, but then about our children, whether or not our children must be vaxxed, and then about vaccine passports. And you're seeing...
Okay, but there has to be vaccine passports issued in order to do that, and the United States is simply not set up for that at all. That being said, in California, I do have a vaccine passport. It's nothing official. It's just I got this text on my phone saying, hey, your proof of vaccination is here. And now, we've had these forever. We have had vaccine records in the United States. I don't know what it's like in England, but we all have these little yellow passports, very similar to passports, and it has a list of our vaccinations. And when we go to school, we show this, oh, you've had your smallpox or whatever it is at the time. I don't think they even give smallpox anymore because we have a vaccine and it eradicated it. Or if you want to go, like when I moved to Africa, yeah, you got to get these vaccines. Okay, let's check it out. Do you have those vaccines? Yes, you do. You can get on the plane. This is nothing new in humanity. This is how we cure diseases.
Europe
I'm lying. This is not how we cure diseases. This is how we stop diseases.
already there, and the response from the people, they do not want green passes, mobile passes, vaccine passports to dine, to go out, to be a normal member of society.
I'm actually surprised by the protests because I had to go to Europe for an emergency, a family emergency in the middle of COVID sometime in, I think it was February or something like that.
I wonder what that was. What, like a death in the family, you'd go for a funeral, but COVID overruled that. I don't know what sort of family emergency would require you to go to Europe in the middle of the pandemic. I mean, when it was bad, I feel badly for her. I'm not making fun of her for doing that. Yesterday, I was quite upset with her, and I don't even remember why now, which is why I end up in relationships. I get mad at people, and then I totally forget 2 hours later. I can't be, I can't be with this person. I need to move on with my life. And then 2 hours later, it's like, hey, you want to go get coffee? Yeah, let's go. She has a huge following on YouTube, spreading misinformation. Her son has pretty much disowned her. I was given a business-style card with the vaccine info. Oh, cool. Yeah, we get cards here in the States. I don't have my wallet nearby. We get cards. This is not a card. This is a pizza. This is a pizza gift certificate. Oh, you can't see. Hold on. I'm going to take away the shark for a second. This is a big day. This is twice now. I've showed my true identity. So we get these things right here. It's not quite this big, but what it is, it comes and it says you've written this. It could be handwritten. You've probably seen them on the news or whatever. It's ridiculous. There's not proof of anything really. It's just proof that you have a piece of paper. The cards though are just slightly too big for your wallet. So they go in your wallet, but they stick above your wallet. How am I supposed to trust people giving us an experimental vaccine? Hold on. I'm going to fix this. Here, Sean. Experimental vaccine. When they can't even get a fucking card to put into my wallet that fits in the wallet. I mean, come on! Come on! Where are you putting this? It's like checks, right? I don't know if you ever get checks that are printed out on a full 8.5 by 11, and the fold is slightly above the tear line for the check, so you end up tearing the check at the fold. Just make the check the size of 1/3 of the paper. Why do we even have checks anymore? I work for a company that you get paid every day that you work. They process another check. every day that you work, which is a huge waste of money. Rather than just processing a check weekly or every second week or whatever it is, like most companies, they process a check every single day. And here's the thing. If you go for, say, for example, for a COVID test, and then you go for a fitting where they're putting your clothing on for the acting world, if you go for a fitting and a COVID test in the same day, they pay you 2 checks. Rather than just, oh, here's how much you worked that day, here's a single check. So you're getting sometimes 7, 8, 9 checks in a single week. They do not have direct deposit. You're still getting these checks. I have not had a checkbook probably in 15 years. If I need to send somebody a check, I just log into my bank and I say send them a check, and it's free. Because the bank would rather not deal with any checks. What a hassle. Anyway, I think a human being still has to look at checks. Why? I don't think Australia's had checks for like 50 years. Why do we still do checks? We all have 1,000 different ways to send money digitally. I'm going to bring back the shark, or I'm going to get rid of the shark one more time, just for a second. If anybody else is anybody else watching? No one's watching. I was going to say, if you'd like to support me, you can send it digitally to these places, but nobody else is here. And you already support me, Sean, so. But just in case someone else, never mind. There we go. Back to shark. Let's get. I want to see the diner stuff.
And wow, they're very compliant there. I mean, like a lot more compliant than I experienced living in the Midwest.
That's one way to look at it. Wow, they're so compliant there. Everyone's getting vaccinated. The other way to look at it, wow, they're so smart and they want to survive without getting sick.
Here in the United States. So I was actually very encouraged to see this kind of protest, that they still want to hang on to their freedom because they seem to be.
I haven't given up my freedom by getting vaccinated. I have gotten my freedom back. Just an opposite view of reality.
A little more statist than we are.
They are, but 160,000 people, there's a Trump flag right there in London.
That's kind of interesting.
160,000 people in Paris, in Australia, but you get the predictable reaction from the authorities. In Australia, a police minister said they're going to create a strike force to identify every protester at the super spreader event. So authorities will not take this lying down. This is a gasp of, they're chanting liberty, liberty in Paris. But they've given away so much of their liberty already.
They have.
That fighting a vaccine passport feels like a bit of a lost cause, even though it's good to see.
What we need to fear here is what first happens in Europe, then begins to happen in the United States. And here is your first example. The city of St. Louis, right here, in one of those beautiful shots we took this morning, is set to...
What we have to fear here. Why? Why are we fearing this?
Reintroduce a mask mandate. However, the state attorney general's office says not so fast. Here's a tweet from Eric Schmidt, the state AG. He says, the citizens of St. Louis and St. Louis County are not subjects. They are free people.
Love that.
As their attorney general, I'll be filing suit Monday to stop this insanity. By the way, Eric Schmidt is going to be coming up on the program here in just about 15 minutes.
Great tweet. We are not subjects. We are free people. And it's still amazing to me that we're arguing about this. Like, where did all this...
Yes, it is amazing. Get vaccinated.
How fast has our world changed just in 1 year? It just feels so crazy.
Here's what
it does. She is absolutely right.
We're arguing about it because the alternative is a vaccine passport. So you have vaccine passports are the protests. But what you have in St. Louis is because they can't trust people, individuals, to make choices, that
is correct.
Forcing everyone to put a mask on, right? So vaccinated or unvaccinated, you have to have a mask. And the authorities say, well, that's one way we can control people. The other one is a vaccine.
No, it's not about controlling people. It's about people keeping people alive, keeping people out of the hospital. Remember every day at 7 o'clock we used to we're all banging pots and pans. Yay, hooray, thank you, nurses and doctors. You guys are the best. Thank you, janitors at hospitals. You guys are the greatest human beings we've ever known. Oh, we're so happy with you. Oh, yay. Marcy, go back to bed. That's what I used to say that at 7 p.m. because I believe that's 2:30 in the morning in Hawaii. But I would say, come on, yay, hooray for the medical staff and the first responders and the guys who drive the ambulances. Yay, I'm banging my pots and pans. You can't see it because I have no arms, but right now, if I wasn't a shark, you would see me banging pots and pans. I'm miming it. I'll show you guys. Here, we'll get rid of shark. See, I'm banging pots and pans right now. Yay! Hooray! For the first responders. And now it's all like, well, you better start working again, first responders. How about, I'm like, yay! Fuck you, first responders, doctors and nurses. We know none of us have to get sick. None of us have to go to the hospital. Your life could be so much easier right now. But you know what? Freedom! Yay for freedom! And understanding how science works. I don't get it. I guess I'm just not smart enough to understand people who don't.
Passport, where you have to prove where you are.
Right.
In the middle is where we are right now in this country in most places. Trust people to make choices for themselves.
No, we've never been able to trust people because a lot of people are really, really stupid. Okay? Trust people? You want to know what happens if you trust people to make the right decision? You end up with 600,000 dead Americans. That's what happens. Trust people. And a lot of people at that time, the 600,000, a lot of them had no idea. This is before the vaccines. A lot of them had no idea that they had it. They made mistakes. COVID was more contagious than they thought. They're not all idiots. Especially at the beginning, COVID just spread. New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, etc. Those states, it's just like, holy crap, we've been spreading this around for a month and none of us knew it because there wasn't enough testing at the time. I don't know who's responsible for testing. Federal government must have some sort of leadership. I don't remember who was in charge at the time, but it doesn't matter because what are you going to do except your job? Now we can beat this. We should be done with this. This should be the summer of freedom. It is not because a whole bunch of people think they are gonna, lose their baby that they don't have in their tummy right now.
About their own health. But there was a commentator, Will, I know you're fired up about this, on another network who said out loud exactly why they can't tolerate, why the elites don't.
Good morning, Cindy. Oh, now we're going to talk about the elites. Great. Your guy is a billionaire real estate guy from New York who lives literally in a golden tower, and you're going to tell us how bad the elites are. Go for it.
Don't want to tolerate the idea that you make your own.
By the way, you know what should be the lead coverage? Some sort of disaster. Okay, there's always a disaster to look at, but we don't talk about the disasters on Fox because, then we start thinking about climate change, etc. So the lead should always be there's some sort of disaster. I haven't seen any footage on Fox about the Chinese subways, and I should say Fox and Friends. They may have. I don't watch it every day, but anyway. But what's happening in China, the floods in Germany, these are all things we should all be still talking about. And then, in terms of politics, hey, how are you guys doing? Who has kids? You've got kids? How much did you get from the federal government? $250? $500? $600? How much are you getting every month in your bank account from the federal government because you have kids? And hey, guess what? This is kind of big news. We just solved child poverty. There's not a child in America that should be hungry anymore once this gets all sorted out, because every child, $250 will feed a child for a month. No child should be starving in this country anymore. We fixed that. Joe Biden fixed that. The Democrats fixed that. All the Republicans voted against it. Everyone. Kids are starving. That's kind of universally, that's been the number one problem on the planet. Kids are starving. This is since humanity began. Kids are hungry because kids aren't responsible for themselves. And we all know what it was like to be a kid. At least some of us do. Morning, Chris. So they don't mention it. They do not mention it on Fox and Friends, except that it's a step closer to socialism. It's pretty much communism. Giving kids something to eat, communism.
Own choice. Here's Donnie Deutsch, a podcast host on mask mandates. Watch.
So look, whether it's a mandate on mask, a mandate of vaccine, is at this point, there is a percentage of the population that Who cares whether they're angry or upset about that? This is just, there's 330 million people in this country. We need to protect ourselves. I'm done worrying about what people think. I'm done worrying about, is there going to be a firestorm, whether it's a mandated mask, whether it's a mandated vaccine. There's an idiot percentage of this population that just
Yes. Thank you.
needs to be told what to do. And guess what? You don't have a choice. Too bad.
There's so many details in that piece of
No, it's very simple. It's really simple. Donnie just told it how it is.
sound that are worthy of highlight.
Break it down, Will.
Well, first of all, can we just point out he's ensconced in some mansion, probably in the Hamptons.
Is that a mansion? Well, he's Donnie Deutsch. I mean, he's made a fair bit of money in his day. So, okay, that's fine. Is it a Golden Tower on Fifth Avenue in New York? No. No. Does it invalidate what he thinks? Because he's done well with his life? Because he's been fairly successful? I don't believe that it does.
Broadcasting from home in his hermetically sealed bubble, which he doesn't abide by all day long. I guarantee he's at cocktail parties come 5 o'clock. But
Do you guarantee that? Is he with other vaccinated people? Well, then that's fine. That's the whole point.
he's broadcasting on Morning Joe, making sure he's socially distanced from anyone else in the studio, anyone that could qualify as a common man, probably anyone who makes less than 7 figures
Again, you're not addressing anything he just said.
a year. So thank you for preaching to the rest of us idiots, Donnie Deutsch, from your mansion.
At least you're acknowledging it.
Second, I don't think you accurately identify who the idiots are. I think you just helped us figure that out. Thank you for your time, Will. you might be the one that doesn't understand current risk assessment and what the idiots are. But ultimately, Rachel, and this is what you said off camera, and you're right, this is the game. This is the game laid bare. This is honesty. And we can at least appreciate that about Donnie Deutsch. You have said what you honestly feel, that you feel like most of us are idiots. Not there. Don't stop there.
Hold on. Have you not been vaccinated, Will?
Idiots that must be mandated to.
Told what to do.
There's the game.
And what's frustrating about it is they think
Is that the idiots won't get vaccinated? Yes.
we're idiots, but actually people are making some very
Stupid decisions.
rational assessments.
No, there's no rationality. You take a look at which is better for you, which is better for society, because this is a contagious disease. This isn't about the individual. This is about protecting other Americans.
And one of the things that has frustrated me is when you hear Dr. Fauci say, well, if you don't have a vaccine, you see this from the CDC too, if you don't have a vaccine, then, you have to wear a mask. Or if you don't have a vaccine, you can't do this or that. Ignoring the fact that many people have chosen not to have the vaccine because they've already had COVID, because they have natural immunities. And these are things that we knew about virology and these kinds of viruses before COVID. And suddenly...
Right, but we also know is that variants may have no effect from the original antibodies. Your antibodies from one variant may not have any effect against the new variant. We know this from virology. So the Cleveland Clinic study that did a study where the specific population that they studied, people who worked for the Cleveland Clinic or involved in the Cleveland Clinic, none of them ended up getting new COVID after they've already had COVID. That's a very limited window. And hopefully, you've got yourself some pretty good immunity. But the Cleveland Clinic also said in the study, absolutely get vaccinated. This is a very limited study on a very limited young population. Get yourself vaccinated. Now, here's the problem. Scientifically speaking, we don't know this. Okay, we don't. I'm hypothesizing here because I've heard this hypothesized before. So this is not a fact. This is a postulation, but it's a hypothesis. It's an educated guess. It is possible that when a variant mutates and ends up fighting off the antibodies in someone who's had a previous variant of a virus, that if the virus mutates, it becomes far more powerful by infecting that person, mutating, and then being affected to others, you end up with a super variant. Delta would be considered a pretty good variant, but we haven't hit a super variant. Again, these are all just rehearsal viruses right now. Oh, and a variant, we shouldn't be calling them variants. We should be calling the COVID, the Delta variant, it should be COVID-20. It should be COVID-22. I know it goes by year, it's not the number, but we should start counting it that way. Because people's like, oh, I can't catch one again. No, you can have two variants at the same time. There are documented cases of people who have the Alpha variant, that's the UK variant, and the Delta variant, that's the Indian variant, at the same time. You can get both. Chris Wilson says, my sister-in-law is a Trumpublican that condemns all forms of socialism, but is also getting government assistance to survive. But she tells us, unlike the rest, she's earned it. It's true. I don't know when entitlements became a bad word. Oh, that's just an entitlement program. Right, it's something you've earned. It's something you're entitled to. Social Security, you've been paying into Social Security your whole life. And when you turn 65, 60, 70, whatever the benchmark is in your case, you've earned it. You're entitled to that. Entitlement has come to be a bad word, and it's usually used to indicate something that people aren't entitled to. Oh, he's acting all entitled. He deserves, because he's white, he deserves this, but he doesn't really. That's not what entitlement is.
Having natural immunities doesn't count? It's very bizarre, but at least Dr. Marty Makary...
Yes, it counts, but you should still get the vaccine, because we don't know how much it counts. And remember all the, oh, you know what, we don't know, let's err on the side of safety. It turns out that we weren't erring. Those of us who were being safe, actually, yeah, no, that was not an error at all. That was fantastic forethought. That's how this works. And maybe, maybe we'll discover something that, or we'll think, hey, you know what we should do? We should do this, and that'll stop the virus. And it doesn't work. But at least we're giving it a shot. Get your shot.
Fox News medical contributor has been very honest about this. And in the end, so many of his predictions have come true, or his assessments have come true. He's been vindicated on a number of different issues. But here's him talking specifically about natural immunity.
One of the biggest failures of our medical leadership has been ignoring natural immunity. It's about half of the unvaccinated, and they have a reasonable reason not to get the vaccine right now. They already have immunity. Many of them have circulating antibodies, and some of us doctors recommend one shot in those folks if they want to get a vaccine.
Okay. So get them that vaccine, and then do a study on how much additional immunity that gets them. Because immunity is the wrong word, by the way. We shouldn't be saying immunity because you're not. But it's a simple way for people to understand it.
But they've already got immunity. Now, there's two parts to immunity.
They do not.
One is the antibodies, but the other is the memory B cells and T cells. And that's probably what gives you decades of protection.
We don't know that because it's a new variant. The same people who are like, I can't get the shot because I'm worried about the long-term effects. We don't know about the long-term effects. Are some of the same people saying like, well, I had it already, so I've got long-term protection? We don't know. We would hope that that's the case, but we don't know, so let's be safe. Okay? And the thing is, it's not immunity because you can still get the virus. If you've had it before, you can get it again. And theoretically, when you get it, if your viral count is low, or even if you have the antibodies at a sufficient level, those antibodies begin to fight the virus. And the virus may not take hold in the body, but while it's there, it's still replicating and can vary. It can mutate. Even having had COVID previously, you can still have a variant created within your body and kill everybody. Is it unlikely? Yeah. But you know what? This whole thing is unlikely. Until now, the entire history of mankind, we've never had COVID-19.
Against severe illness. So COVID is going to turn into a seasonal virus that'll cause...
Yeah, it'll be interesting to watch what happens in the Phoenix area. The thing is, the Delta variant is spiking so much all over the country that I don't think it's going to be possible to pinpoint what's going on because people are in movie theaters, people in restaurants, people are in close contact all over the country. I don't know that Phoenix is going to have necessarily spike. Now, we did see in Tulsa, when he had that rally in Tulsa, we saw absolutely marked spikes in coronavirus at the time. But, yeah, we all just moved on. Like, literally nobody talks about that. Herman Cain died. Oh, okay. All right. Didn't affect it. You would think, like, oh, hey, one of your biggest supporters and a name brand, one of your previous presidential candidates, he died from this. Okay. Moving on.
Common cold-like symptoms, and that's going to be our future. We can't try to eliminate this with more restrictions.
There have been very few
We can.
heroes in the medical profession, people willing to go against Dr. Fauci. I think Rand Paul explained why many
Yeah, Chris. 600,000 people died, and, oh, hey, my freedoms. You can't make me wear a cloth on my face. The other day, I worked a job. I wore a cloth mask the entire time, inside, outside, whatever. I was fine. Yes, I collapsed 2 or 3 times. I broke my nose. But other than that,
universities and doctors affiliated with the universities are afraid to go against Fauci because so much funding for research funnels through him, and he could punish you. But Dr. McCary and a few others, Dr. Atlas, a few other people have been heroes, but there haven't been many heroes in the medical field. A lot of cowards.
Well, there have been many who've been censored as well.
So remember a couple months ago, it was thank you, doctors and nurses and ambulance drivers and people who work in the admin and all the people at the emergency room. You're all heroes. And now it's like, boy, there's just not very many medical heroes. It's so sad. It's so bad, America.
True, that's true. Fair enough.
To go back to the Donnie Deutsch clip, I'd like to defend idiots. You have a right to be an idiot in this country.
True.
I'm an idiot. I know a lot of you are idiots.
I don't think anyone's arguing at this point.
And we get to make our own choice.
But there haven't been many heroes in the medical field. A lot of cowards.
Well, there have been many who've been censored as well.
True, that's true. Fair enough.
To go back to the Donnie Deutsch clip, I'd like to defend idiots. You have a right to be an idiot in this country.
True.
I'm an idiot. I know a lot of you are idiots, and we get to make our own choices. And sometimes they're smart, sometimes they're wise, sometimes they're dumb, sometimes they're unwise. But give us the information. The view of the left is they're always smarter than you.
Yeah.
And as a result, the rest of you are idiots.
Yeah, but the real trick in this is you're not the idiot. The
That's
one
right.
calling
What?
other people idiots is the
Of course.
idiot.
How-
I appreciate your humility and your
how is that
willingness
a
to take
trick?
on the label, but in this case, the one pointing the finger on MSNBC
They always are.
is the one that the thumb is pointing back at.
Isn't he the guy that loved
So the ones saying, hey, let's do the vaccine, the one that Trump keeps bragging about, those are the idiots.
Avenatti that was promoting him for like president or something?
Yeah.
He's an idiot.
All right, well, on another topic we talked about a little bit yesterday, Will and I had some back and forth on it, is the Olympics. Now, the question is...
I don't even care. Let's go find the diner people. Okay, diner. I want to see the diner people. I love the diner people. Always enjoy the diner people. Was that... It looked like food for a second. Hold on. If you're just joining us, yeah, okay, that's a commercial. One of them is out at a diner this morning, so let's see if we can find somebody in the diner. Here we go, Real America.
If you take asthma.
Commercial, here we go.
In Long Beach, New York.
That's right, TV's Todd Pyro is live at the Laurel Diner talking to New Yorkers this morning. Todd, take it away.
Good morning, guys. Great to see you. We've been asking the people here, what are you fired up about? And it turns out each of these individuals fired up about something else. We got a lot in our world to be fired up about.
Yeah.
We begin with Rob. He works in real estate. Rob, you're fired up about the vaccine. You got the vaccine. You think people should get the vaccine, but you don't think people should be forced to get the vaccine. Why?
It's just very simple. I think we all have the right to make our own choice in life, whether it's to get a vaccine or not.
He's so Long Beach. If you spend any time on Long Beach, this guy is so Long Beach.
I don't think the government should control anything about anything medically in our bodies. I look at it as every year we have a flu epidemic. People are asked to take the
We do not have a flu epidemic every year in our country, but okay.
flu shot. They're not forced to take the flu shot. I got the vaccine because I wanted to go to a sporting event and a concert. I don't think that people should be forced to do it if they don't want to do it. It's as simple as that.
I have no problems with what this guy is saying.
Rob, thank you for your time. I just find it fascinating that you got it so that you could see sports teams here in the New York metropolitan area.
Yeah, imagine that. You got it so that you can get back your freedom. Sounds good.
All of our teams are horrible. Mary, How are you? You work in law. I asked you what you're most worried about. You said inflation. You said China. Do you think the Biden administration is doing enough on both fronts?
No, and I think they're doing this on purpose. I think the Democratic Party likes the underclass in this country. He wouldn't have shut down pipelines.
The Democratic Party likes the underclass? Does anybody know what that means?
He doesn't do anything to help the economy. If anything, he's making it worse.
Right.
The economy's booming right now. By the way, you've got a sniffle. You might not want to be out in public right now. There's a pandemic.
Mary, thank you. David, retired investment banker, a pretty liberal industry, but you say you are a conservative, and you're concerned about...
Investment bankers are a pretty liberal industry. That is news to me.
About what you
Some people call them the poors, Marcy. Some people call them the dirties.
See at the border. Did you ever think it would get as bad as it is right now?
I didn't think it was possible to get this bad. I knew it was bad. It was bad at one point before Donald was Trump. He put an end to that, and now...
Before Donald was Trump. Is that what this guy just said? He's on camera. He's national TV. He's nervous, but it's kind of funny. Is that what he said before Donald was Trump?
You're concerned about what you see at the border. Did you ever think it would get as bad as it is right now?
I didn't think it was possible to get this bad. I knew it was bad. It was bad at one point before Donald was Trump. He put an end to that, and now they've opened up everything.
He put a name to that. Before Donald was Trump, he put a name to that, and now they've opened up everything. Okay? Anyone? Can anyone tell me what this guy is? Are we... I guess I just don't. I want to record this guy. I don't know. Hold on. I want to see if I'm not capturing this right now. Hold on. I got to change something, guys. We'll go back. Let's listen to Mary again. I have to change something on my computer. Again, every time I take down and put up the studio, I'm not complaining. I'm just explaining. Things change. Hold on.
Shut down pipelines. He doesn't do anything to help the economy. If anything, he's making it worse.
Right, Mary, thank you. David, retired investment banker, a pretty liberal industry, but you say you are a conservative, and you're concerned about what you see at the border. Did you ever think it would get as bad as it is right now?
I didn't think it was possible to get this bad. I knew it was bad. It was bad at one point before Donald was Trump. He put an end to that, and now they've opened up everything. Basically, without a border, you don't have a country. And that's where we're headed at this point. They're destroying the country. People are just streaming over the border.
All right. I think I can record it now. Hold on.
You say you are a conservative, and you're concerned about what you see at the border. Did you ever think it would get as bad as it is right now?
I didn't think it was possible to get this bad. I knew it was bad. It was bad at one point before Donald was Trump. He put an end to that, and now they've opened up everything. Basically, without a border, you don't have a country. And that's where we're headed at this point. They're destroying the country. People are just streaming over the border. They're not controlling the disease, COVID coming over. They're not controlling drugs. Drugs are rampant right now in this country. I grew up during the drug era. I know. It's just the cartels are running the country.
Understood.
Not the government here, and they're not getting any help from the federal government. The federal government is they got their heads in the sand.
I'm glad you said in the sand and not somewhere else. It is Sunday morning. It's time to go to church. We don't need to be using the dirty language. And we're going to...
Yeah, if this is the effect that Donald Trump has, that Fox News has on America. He just basically spewed out talking points that have nothing to do with reality. But you just say that before Donald was Trump, they just gotta the soup cans, Antifa wants your children, but it's killing the children. There's no country. All the countries gotten to the border. They just can't because we're spreading. They won't control COVID. No, I won't get vaccinated. I'm not going to wear a mask, but the government won't control COVID. This is what happens. He's a gibberal, a glibberal.
Conclude here with John. John, obviously, we're in Nassau County. This is Biden country.
By the way, his vote counts just as much as yours. Unless you live in a swing state, then his vote doesn't count at all. Your vote counts.
You are wearing the Trump hat. You're a lawyer. You say you're worried about
just going out for breakfast wearing a Trump hat, just in case Fox News is there.
Censorship. Do you feel the
Good
government
morning, Ann.
is censoring us?
Absolutely, especially with the vaccines and elections.
Yeah. The vaccines are set. The government's censoring our vaccines.
Everything is censored. All you have to do is listen to Steve Bannon or go on your computer on the internet. And
there you go. You got to listen to the War Room with Steve Bannon. I was listening to Steve Bannon's show with Peter Navarro a couple of weeks ago, and Peter Navarro just said absolutely insane things, and nobody corrected him. Nobody corrected again. For example, he was talking about, he said, the people collecting, in the papers, the people collecting the bat coronavirus samples in China, one of them called the bats, he called the babies, he called them puppies. That's how affectionate it was. He thinks of them like dogs. Here's the deal. A baby bat is a pup. That's just what we call baby bats. They're pups. Just like bear cubs, just like sniglets. They're sniglets, right? The baby ducks, sniglets. They make up words for things. Do you guys remember sniglets? That's an old reference from SNL. Who was that? Who was the guy who came up with sniglets? Anyway. But, okay, going back to... But yeah, everything Peter Navarro said, including calling... what did he call it? The Journal of Nature? He called it an economic magazine. A magazine full of economists. He's an economist. He should know that the Journal of Nature is not. No. You know what he called? He didn't call the Journal of Nature. He called Lancet, which is a medical journal. He called that an economics journal. It is not an economics journal.
You'll see everything you need.
But why should he know? He's only an economist.
To know.
So ask questions.
Hold on. Let's listen to Steve Bannon.
The government is censoring us.
Absolutely, especially with the vaccines and elections. Everything is censored. All you have to do is listen to Steve Bannon or go on your...
And the government is, censoring Steve Bannon, so you can't listen to him, right?
Computer on the internet, and you'll see everything you need to know.
Oh, you go on the internet. Okay.
So ask questions is the theme of today. And Pete, at
really? Because no one there has said anything about asking questions.
The top of 7, boy, do I have a surprise for you. We met a gentleman here who, let's just say, when he went to get his tattoos, he went in and said, "Give me the HEGSEF."
We will tell him I can't wait.
Okay, I can't wait till the next segment here with the kids at the diner. Hold on. Let's find it. Oh, hold on. Here's a parent speaking. A parent speaking possibly at a school board meeting. Let's watch this.
Understand. One question asked us.
Equity survey that happened in her 4th grade class. Take a listen to this.
During this incident.
Okay, this is a student. We're gonna bypass this. We don't make fun of the kids. Let's go to the hop. Oh, here. I saw a diner. Let's go back to the diner. Here we go. I love me some diner. I don't even know why I watch the diner segments. I just love it. I just love the peoples.
You know who
Rich Hall. The Sniglets. Yes. Yeah, it was Rich Hall.
I blame.
What happened to Rich Hall? Like, Rich Hall was a generally funny human being.
I blame Vincent, the president of the Pete Hegseth fan club here in Nassau County. But let's get right into it. Vincent was...
I think that's a Back the Blue hat. I'm not sure, but he's got an American flag. There's another There's another hat, a similar hat, over on the left side of the table. They have hash browns, and quite frankly, that's all I'm going to be thinking about during this interview are those hash browns.
A Democrat.
Trader Joe's has pretty good hash browns. I don't know why I have none of those.
Switch.
I had some bacon the other day. You guys want to watch one of my auditions? I have an audition the other day that involved bacon. I don't know. I can't show it to you. I can't show it to you yet. I got a call back for it. I'm still up for it. So anyway.
To Republican so he could vote for Trump. First time he voted. Vincent, what do you think of the state of politics in the USA in 2021?
Right now, it's a disaster. They're spending our money.
Oh, I wonder who he's a fan of. It's a disaster. It's a disaster. I wonder if he has any kids. I wonder how much money he got in his bank account this month from Biden.
Money, like it's an ATM machine. I mean, us taxpayers have to pay for all the bills. If they want, they should take care of the people in the U.S. first before they worry about people from other countries.
The Vincent Show is done for the day. Thank you, Vincent. Let's go to Jim.
Okay, well, thank you for sharing that. This guy's got a USA shirt as well. Does everybody in diners wear USA shirts on a daily basis? I used to have a USA flag shirt or something. I used to have something that said USA. Honestly, I have a couple of things that say Canada, but they're like hockey jerseys. I'm not sure I get. I love this country. I love the ideas behind it. It needs some fixing, but I love it. I love Canada. I love Sweden. I love Finland. I had a fake wife on set the other day. She was from Finland. She was nice. But I just don't get the rah, hooray. I guess I didn't come from a country where I was repressed. I came from a country where I had all the freedom that I needed. So I maybe if you come from that situation, you appreciate the U.S. all that more. But I just don't understand wearing the flag on a daily basis. But you know what? I have no problem with people doing it. I'm not criticizing any of these people. If that's your choice, if you want to wear the U.S. flag, go for it. Good for you. I'm glad that you have something you're passionate about. If it's a piece of cloth, that's great. Hash browns, how are hash browns underrated? They would be rated the very best food on the planet. A little bacon inside there.
Jim, retired NYC fireman and Navy. Thank you, sir, for your service. You're really fired up about the state of law and order in your great city. What's going on?
I just hoping this new mayor will correct what's going on. Like Giuliani, I remember when he cleaned up.
Wait a sec. They're on Long Beach. Are they even part of... A lot of Long Beach is not part of New York City. Is anybody... I mean, there's a lot of commuters that go to New York, but I guess I just don't think that's part of New York City. I could be wrong. I'm like, is Massapequa part of New York City? Is it just a district within New York City? It's not one of the boroughs. You know, boroughs, like, you know, donkeys, where you would get huevos at a diner. Ketchup on hash browns is completely acceptable. If the judges were here this morning, they would give you the bill.
New York with the crime, and it's
hash browns are great any time of day. You're absolutely right, Chris Wilson.
It's time to get it back.
Jim, thank you. And we're going to go quickly to Eric. Marine, thank you, sir, for your service. We're going to end with some positivity. You like what you see when it comes to infrastructure. Why?
Because there's compromise. I like both sides of the aisle to meet and come to a consensus. This country does not run without compromise. It was built on compromise. The Constitution is a compromise.
This guy's absolutely right. What is he doing at a diner? Dude, you're way too smart to be eating at a diner, apparently. Although, hash browns. I would love to be eating at a diner right now. Anyway, yeah, this guy's exactly right. I have no issues with what this guy is saying so far. Let's see what else he says. Because they can't let this guy speak forever. They've got to move on. He's making sense.
But the infrastructure that you like is the actual one that's infrastructure, not the other one.
Not the other one, because that's unilateral. I like the compromise of the 1.1 trillion, I think it is. That's the
This guy actually pays attention to the news.
way this country should run, a compromise.
Compromise, back to you.
All right, Todd, thank you so much.
The follow-up question would be, what are you against in the other one? Do you think that we shouldn't be helping people who have kids? Do you think that we shouldn't be people who are old and can't afford the care that they need? Do you think that we shouldn't be giving Medicare to people who need Medicare? What about the new package, the other stuff, do you not like?
Compromise key to a good relationship too, right?
It is.
All right, let's go. I bet there's more diner. But I'm getting so hungry, though. I enjoy the diner segments. They do make me hungry. And now I want hash browns. There's diners nearby, but I bet the hash browns in Pasadena are like $15. And they're potatoes. I can't pay $15 for hash browns.
Pyro?
Here we go.
Not yet. Soon, but...
That's the beautiful thing about where you are, Chris, in Iowa or Idaho or Illinois or Indiana, one of the I states. I can't pay that much attention. You're in Iowa. So Chris is in Iowa. You can go out to a diner in Iowa and get 2 eggs, 3 strips of bacon, and a slab of hash browns for like $2.95. It's ridiculous. Here in LA, a slice of avocado toast with 1/4 of an avocado is going to cost you $38. That's before tipping. You better be tipping because COVID. Ann says, with sausage links and buttered noodles, plan on having a Tuesday on my 62nd birthday. Oh, that is a great plan for a 62nd birthday. Honestly, that's a great plan for any time, any day. But to do it on the birthday, happy birthday to you, Ann.
I will say the first 2 hours of this diner, while there hasn't been booze...
$1.99 before 8 a.m. on Saturday. Chris, sometimes we all hate you. And we wish that you would hate yourself. But, on the other hand, you also have to live in Iowa, so...
It's been a Hegseth love...
Oh my God in heaven. Look at what's on that counter.
Fest. You know, the fangirling going on from boys and girls alike needs to stop. Kane and Pyro really getting jealous of the muscles from Minnesota talk. So we're going to switch it up this time. We're going to talk all about Rachel Campos Duffy, America's sweetheart. Rachel, two-parter to you. Is this what breakfast looks like at your house? And the second part, how much of it does Sean eat?
What I don't care. What about the Peoples? What about the Peoples? Stop. That was just cruel. I came to see the Peoples and I was shown the food. And that's just mean. Let's go to the diner where it actually talks to the Peoples. I'm all about American Peoples. I love the Peoples. Not so much the talking heads. I saw Peoples. Hold on. Here we go. Ain't that America? Something to see, baby. Ain't that America? Home of the free, yeah.
So stand by for that. Next hour, we're going to be talking to the people here about the issues of the day. But first, I want to introduce you to somebody this town knows as Donna, but we in the Fox family know as Janice Dean's sister-in-law. There she is. Is JD, two-part question here. Is Janice Dean as awesome as we know her to be?
She is. What you see is what you get. She's like that all the time.
See, the Janice Dean fan club and the Pete Hegseth fan club coming together. Second part of the question, take a look at these Cinnabon pancakes. Would Janice Dean devour them? And if so, how quickly?
How is this?
The amount of time? 30 seconds?
This guy is just having a private inside joke with his Fox people. Like, talk to the people about the politics. That's what I'm here for.
30 seconds, yes. She would devour them.
Kane, you're into sports. 30 seconds, over, under.
Over.
Okay. I just like what's going on with the people and what they think about things. I don't care about Janice Dean. That's just a waste of a diner segment, quite frankly. You have gold in your hand and you're making a penis ring with it. Like, dude, show us what you got. Here he is. I think this is just him again. I'm not seeing him with any peoples. Nope. Just to cut in. I don't know why they do that. I don't, they do the teasers where he's standing there at the counter showing the food and he talks for 2 minutes. Why? Why not talk to the peoples? Are you not finding any decent people to talk to at that point?
Well, we're going to have T-shirts made.
There you go.
Okay, here we go.
Before we get to this, let's get to the serious stuff. She's a first-generation American. As an immigrant, how upset are you at what you're seeing at the border?
I'm very upset. I came here legally. I went through the channels. I did what I had to do. I don't think it's fair to anybody. Why bother?
As a child. Like, unless she came from a country where they have Long Island accents, she's been here a while.
Now.
Charlene, thank you, by the way, Claudia. And
That's it?
thank you for being Team Will.
I want to hear more about that. Let the people speak. Why are you censoring her?
Charlene, are you worried we have become an open borders country?
Definitely. It's just getting out of hand. They're just coming over in swamps. We don't even know who's coming over. If they're convicts, if they're criminals, or they're sex.
Rapists? I think she was just about to say, she said something about sex. I interrupted her, but she's basically reciting Trump's self-inauguration speech.
For being Team Will. Charlene, are you worried we have become an open borders country?
Definitely. It's just getting out of hand. They're just coming over in swamps. We don't even know who's coming.
Do you get the gold penis ring at Jared's? Yes. At Jared's. It's called the Prince Ivanka.
Coming over. If they're convicts, if they're criminals, or they're sex traffickers, dog traffickers, even on my face. And it's got.
And some of them, I assume, are good people. What did she say about something on her face? Hold on, the other lady said something.
Country.
Definitely. It's just getting out of hand. They're just coming over in swamps. We don't even know who's coming over. If they're convicts, if they're criminals, or they're sex traffickers, dog traffickers, even on my face. And it's.
The glasses are uneven on the face. This is what she said. I'm not sure why that has anything to do with anything, but she's very concerned about somebody's glasses being uneven on their face.
Gotta stop.
Continuing with the theme of ladies, Brenda, how hard is...
Oh, she was talking to somebody at another table. She's concerned that her glasses are uneven on her face. Well, hold on a second, kids. If that's a concern, now I'm a little bit worried. I can't. So, they look really high on my face. Are they? Is that better? All right. See, this is why I go to Shark. I'm more concerned about my glasses being uneven on my face. Better.
Is inflation hitting you right now?
It's terrible. Gas prices are up, food's up every time I go to the supermarket, no matter what. Even if I buy some fruit, it's $30. Steak is $30 for a skirt.
What? Fruit is $30? What is she buying? Is it guava? Because guava is really expensive. It's so hard to transport. You have to carry guava by hand. What is she talking? Fruit is $30 in New York on Long Island. Move to where Chris is, and you never have to eat fruit. I wonder what she's having for breakfast.
Steak, so things are getting crazy, right?
Brenda, one thing that you talked to me about, how this is a big-time middle-class area. Melissa, inflation. How hard does inflation hit the middle class?
It's terrible. You see it everywhere you go, from the supermarket to the gas station. Even I tried to book a flight 2 weeks ago. It's out of control. Everything is through the roof.
That's called supply and demand. So do you have any kids? Because how much are you getting per kid? Is it $250? Are they under 6? Is it $300 per kid? I'm just curious. But it's true, though. She can't even afford a jean jacket at this point. It's sad, kids. Anyway, she has enough to eat out at a diner, so that's good. So inflation hasn't really stopped her from doing anything, apparently.
And we're feeling it in every sense of, our economy and our daily living.
The ladies delivered. Now, can Todd Patrick Pyro deliver the Will Kane challenge?
There ain't no way.
This is the pancake situation.
This is it.
30 seconds, Will.
Wait, Todd. You got all those ladies on. Quick, ask them, Team Will or Team Pete?
Oh, no, let's let them eat.
Okay, before we do that.
We're going to watch him eat. We're not going to watch him eat. That should be the end of the diner segments. Hold on. Oh, Maria's on. They're interviewing Marita, the Roma. Her show's already on. So this is before her show. She must have been in the studio ready to go. Let's find out what she has to say about everything.
A compromise.
I bet it's something about China.
Here to react, Sunday Morning Futures anchor Maria Bartiromo. Good morning, Maria.
Good morning, team. Thank you so much. There is not a more important company to the...
This is analog hiss. Here's Maria. She's got the analog hiss going on. I don't know. Do they record her show On one of those cassette players where you have to press record and play at the same time. Chris Wilson says, every one of those people is a plant. I think they all work for Fox News, probably arrived on the same bus. Yes, of course, because conspiracies are always true.
Chinese Communist Party than Huawei. Huawei is the company that has enabled the CCP to spy, to track, and get information from the U.S. There is a reason that there is a stack of settlements, lawsuits from U.S. companies, from Cisco to Motorola to Microsoft and beyond, that have sued companies tied to Huawei or sued Huawei out and out over the last decade. This company is the company that is doing the work for the CCP.
Okay. Anything else?
China plans their
Okay. Just Huawei?
to see if the U.S. when it was revealed that Podesta worked with Manafort on business in the Ukraine, and suddenly how convenient, the Biden administration up and running, and now Tony Podesta is back in business and now working for Huawei. The lead
Tony Podesta's been working this entire time. There's no back in business.
Company that is creating this issue for America because of the CCP spying and tracking. By the way, we saw a major change last week from this administration.
Oh, yeah?
Where they undid 5 individual charges against 5 Chinese spies, and they dropped the charges. Did you see this one?
Yeah.
There were 5...
I didn't.
people who abused the visa process. The guy, when he was arrested, said to them, oh, yeah, I did lie on my visa application, and my manager tasked me with taking information from the U.S. back. And they still dropped the charges.
Yeah.
In any event, this is clearly one of our top
It's probably not accurate, but interesting.
stories on Sunday Morning Futures, you guys. I'm going to get the ideas on this from Ron Johnson, Devin Nunes, and we'll also talk border with Greg Abbott.
We could watch Ron Johnson. Oh, Greg Abbott. Pfft, idiot. I don't know who Blake Masters is. Anyone? Anybody know who Blake Masters is? Devin Nunes, idiot. But he's not interesting either. Like, he's a boring idiot. Ron Johnson is an idiot who just says outrageous things. I mean, we could just go watch, like, Aaron Rupar, and he would already have that. Somebody, Ruth Ann, sent me something. We should watch this on the Twitters. I haven't watched it yet, so let's pull that up. Hold on. This is from our friend Ruth Ann. Oh. Hold on. Oh. So this is... Oh, crap. They're playing YMCA. I can't watch it. I will repost on my Twitter feed for you guys. But, yeah, the YMCA is one of those songs where YouTube will ding you in 2 seconds. So even in the background like that you guys just heard, you don't want to do that. Hold on. Let's go to... let's go back here. Let's go to home. Let's go to library. And let's see if we can find Maria's show. New in your library. It's all Olympics. There it is. Let's find out. Start from beginning and see. Oh, that's interesting.
Say where you're
there
from.
we go. Okay, so that's Fox and Friends. And then we go here. And who have we got? We got Greg Abbott. Let's listen to what Greg Abbott has to say.
Of the legislature, and I believe the legislature will do its job.
When do you expect the rest to return home, and will you apprehend them if they don't cooperate and do their jobs?
Well, first, as you talk about, I think there's a fraying of the Democrats who are in Washington, D.C., because they're realizing they're accomplishing absolutely nothing up there in Washington. They were hoping to coax the Democrats in Washington, D.C. to change their position, to vote out H.R. 1 or some other election integrity bill in Washington, D.C., and they've met with a stone wall with regard to that. And so they will have gone up there for their mission and done nothing, while at the same time spending Texas taxpayer money to pay for the special session, to pay for their salaries, to pay for the salaries of their staff, et cetera. But also at the same time, the Democrats who did remain in the state of Texas, they were able to work on a bill in the Texas Senate that did accommodate some of the requests by the Democrats. And so as opposed to trying to negotiate with people in Washington, D.C., these members of the Texas House of Representatives who were elected to hammer out details of bills in the state of Texas, they need to get back to the Texas Capitol to do their job. with regard to arresting them, listen, this is a protocol that is established by the Texas Constitution that empowers the House of Representatives to put a call on the House that will send out Texas Department of Public Safety troopers to escort them to the Texas House chamber, where they will be kept in the Texas House chamber, subject only to a permission slip by the Speaker of the House to make sure that they stay there and get the job done.
Governor, this is partly because of misinformation about the voting bill in Texas and the 14 or 16 states that have come up with their new voting laws and approach to voting after trying to clean up what they saw to be irregularities in 2020. So let's go through the Texas voting bill, if you would, please, so that people can understand the facts here. You are looking to increase hours to vote during early voting, give people time off from work to vote during early voting, create uniform voting laws for the entire state, preventing rogue counties from creating their own rules, which certainly happened in 2020. You want to ban drive-through and 24 voting and prevent voter fraud in mail-in ballots and applications. You know, there is some speculation now that the Democrats are going to create more of a lockdown going into the 2022 Senate and congressional races so that the mail-in ballot situation can be the standard once again. Tell me about that and the ability to use your ID to vote.
So the word you chose to say that what they were saying about it was a misrepresentation is pretty much the nicest thing that you could say. The fact of the matter, Maria, is they're just flat out lying about what's going on, and that lie has been perpetuated by the mainstream media. The fact of the matter is, as you kind of pointed out, what Texas is doing, we're actually adding hours to vote, not subtracting hours to vote. And if you look at for 2 weeks or for 12 days, there are early voting with early voting hours. Compare that to Biden's home state that has exactly 0 early voting hours. If there's any state engaged in voter suppression, it would be the state of Delaware, not the state of Texas. So in Texas, we truly have made it easier to vote and harder to cheat. The one thing that you pointed out that we are cracking down on is mail-in ballots. But a judge appointed by Barack Obama in the state of Texas said that as it concerns mail-in ballots, there is an abundance of voter fraud with mail-in ballots. Some of the Democrats who in Washington, D.C., as we speak right now, have said from the floor of the Texas House of Representatives that mail-in ballot is one of the easiest way to engage in fraud. So Republicans and Democrats have both been clear on the record that mail-in ballots is a way that cheating does take place. We all have to agree that if there's cheating in the election process, we need to stop that cheating, and the best way to stop that cheating is to tighten up restrictions concerning mail-in ballots.
But, Governor, this misrepresentation, this lying, bold-faced lying is starting at the top. It is President Biden who keeps coming out calling all of these laws Jim Crow laws. Should the president come out and show some honesty on all of these voting bills rather than trying to push the Democrat Party H.R. 1 bill through, which, of course, tries to do the opposite, no ID, and making mail-in ballots the standard?
So this is the same president who called me a Neanderthal. Now he's invoking Jim Crow, too. And I got to tell you what, that's diminishing to the people in the United States of America who did have to suffer through Jim Crow. Anybody who says this is a Jim Crow law, they don't either know Jim Crow laws or they don't know what's going on in the state of Texas because there is no segregation. There is no attempt to make it harder of people of color. And in fact, Texas passed a voter ID law a few years ago, and they said the same thing, oh, this is voter suppression. It will deny people of color the ability to vote. Ever since we passed that law, there's been more people vote than ever before, including people of color. It's easier today than it's ever been for people of color, for all Texans, to be able to cast a vote. And so these aspersions that are being cast by the President of the United States are completely reprehensible. It shows the American people that the President of the United States is willing to lie about what's going on to try to get his way. And that's one reason why you're seeing President Biden's polling numbers continue to plummet.
Yeah, what an extraordinary state of affairs. You hit it right on the nose. Meanwhile, these Democrats who are avoiding doing their job are testing positive for COVID. We see that COVID numbers are up at the border. illegals bringing in not just human trafficking and narcotics, illicit narcotics killing Americans, but also COVID. We've got a report here that says COVID cases are up 900% in the month of June, year over year. Give me an assessment of where we are with these dangerously wide open borders. You say you're going to be arresting illegal
Okay, couple of things there. I was off getting a refill on my COVFEFE. Yeah, Delaware doesn't have in-person voting. Oh, wait, no, it does. First off, Joe Biden has never been responsible for the voting rules in Delaware. He's never been a state senator in Delaware. He's never been involved in state politics as an elected official in Delaware. He's been a national senator representing Delaware, but the Senate doesn't get to decide the voting rules in Delaware. That's the whole argument of the right. They're saying, hey, how come Joe Biden didn't fix things in Delaware? Hey, the Senate can't put their hands. The states have to decide that. Stay out of politics, federal. You can't decide the voting rules, federal. Why haven't you decided the voting rules? The other thing is, yes, Delaware has no in-person early voting. But in 2019, they decided they should have it. And so starting next year, on January 1st, 2022, they will have in-person voting. So for the midterm, they will have in-person voting. They saw that it was an issue, and they corrected the issue. And Delaware will now have in-person voting, which has nothing to do with Joe Biden, except that he lives in Delaware. Delaware already had absentee ballots. So you did have, they always have to say in-person voting. I don't know whether she did or not. Either one of them. But yeah, Delaware has in-person voting.
trespassers. Have you done so?
I have. First, I will tell you that listen, this is one of the most reprehensible actions by the Biden administration. First, if you recall, under the Trump...
Oh, and by the way, the judge who said an abundance of mail-in voting. Texas, since 2004, has had fewer than 160 prosecutions of voter fraud. Out of the tens of millions of votes cast, fewer than 160. Voter fraud, as the governor admitted last week, voter fraud, not a problem that needs a solution in Texas.
Administration, they pretty much had...
Oh, going back to the judge there, the abundance of voter fraud committed by mail-in ballots. It's not necessarily accurate, but he also said that if the same thing with the Carter administration, not the administration, sorry, this is only my second cup of coffee. The Carter administration, okay, forget it. Moving on.
Cross-border illegal immigration shut down. All that Biden had to do was to continue the Trump policies, and we would have no problem on the border whatsoever.
And he has. Trump has continued the Trump policies. And let's see what this is. Let's see. Border encounters in the Rio Grande Valley sector. January through June, it went up to 65,000, it looks like, and then it went down, and now in June it's like 62,000. Yeah, but right away, because of Title 42, most of those people get turned around, and then they try and get back in, and they're counted again. The Customs Border Patrol tells us this.
But now it's getting worse because Biden is opening the floodgates for people who are coming.
He's not. He's not opening the floodgates.
Coming from countries where there's an extremely low vaccination rate and there's an extremely high number of people coming across the border who do have COVID. But
okay, well then they're immune. Remember, we just talked about this.
Okay, so what?
But by the way, Texas is on fire with or without people coming across the border. With the number of people getting COVID, the Delta variant in Texas. This was already happening. It's not coming in across the border. We know this because we can look at the vaccination rate. Let's do that right now. Let's just see. Let me pull it. Let's watch this, and we'll pull it up on the other screen. These are encounters, by the way. These are not people being let into the country. These are people being apprehended, and the vast majority of which, 104,000 this last month in June. 104,000 people immediately turned back. Nope, you're not coming in. Goodbye. So now that strips that number down quite a bit. Remember, back in June, this country was on fire with COVID. Nobody wanted to come here. There was no travel. People were not coming to this country because of the COVID.
Texas is doing, we're not playing games anymore. I've deployed the National Guard as well as the Texas Department of Public Safety, and we have a new program in place because the Biden administration plan is to catch and release. The Texas plan is to catch and to jail. So we are arresting and jailing. The program has already begun. It took a few weeks to set up because we actually had to set up an entire new booking system. We had to get judges involved in the process, magistrates who would magistrate these people. We had to open up a former prison that has now 1,000 jail beds that we're starting to fill up. We are arresting people every single day, and we're arresting for trespass. When you come across the river, you're typically coming into private property or county property or state property. You are trespassing, and because I declared it an emergency, the punishment for the crime has been doubled. So it's either a Class B or Class A misdemeanor that can put them in jail for a half a year or a year. And our goal is to continue to arrest people coming across the border, but at the same time, surge more National Guard, more Texas Department of Public Safety officers to make sure that we are doing everything that we can as a state to secure the border.
Well, it's an incredible situation, and incredible to me that this administration refuses to see this realistically. It's not just illegals coming into our country, more than 1 million so far. We're looking at potentially 2 million people apprehended in 2021 if, in fact, these numbers keep up at this pace. And you've got the fentanyl, 93,000 overdoses in America in the last year. We know that fentanyl comes over the border, and it is made in Mexico. You've got the criminal cartels of Mexico and the criminal cartels of China working together to get these illicit narcotics into our country. What is the impact? I haven't even spoken about the gotaways, Governor. What can you tell us about the number of people that your enforcement sees on surveillance video? They come into the country, they don't want to get apprehended, and they go where? To Tucson? Where?
So
I know that Tucson is one of the havens.
So you mentioned two topics. I'll address them both. One is what's going on with fentanyl. Understand this, and that is fentanyl is one of the most deadly drugs that exists. It's almost a...
It's fentanyl. Nobody says it properly. Okay, so here's a hotspot map. This is from the New York Times. This is Texas. Here's our border right here. You can see, obviously, the darker it gets, the more a hotspot it gets. El Paso, major spot for immigrants coming over. Only 6.1 cases per 100,000. Cameron County, McAllen County. McAllen is the main checkpoint for people coming across. It's in Hidalgo County. 21 cases per 100,000. Let's go up here. This is the middle of nowhere, Texas. 38. 39. 4.6. Over here. Not on the border. 41. Not on the border. 44. Not on the border. 40. Not on the border. 41. Not on the border. 32. El Paso. Hudspeth. Not on the border. No recently reported cases. 6.4 in Presidio. What's next? Starr County, 21. Webb County, 19. Up here, Brown County, 40. 38 in Coryell? I've never heard of Coryell. Over here in Beaumont, I think we did Beaumont already. Chambers County, 42. It's got nothing to do. If cases were coming across so rampant at the borders, all of these would be hotspots. They're not. Here's a darker spot. 42 in Maverick County. Again, up here, 38 in Armstrong. In the middle of nowhere. This is nonsense. This is the governor of the state. He has access to information.
100 times more potent than morphine, almost 50 times more potent.
Jojo, this has been going on for an hour and 23 minutes. Good morning, by the way.
Potent than heroin, and it's laced onto other drugs like ecstasy, Valium, Xanax, and other things that people are taking, and people are losing their lives. There was a tragic story in Austin, Texas, about a young man who lost his life because he bought a pill off the street that was laced with fentanyl, and he died. This is happening over and over again. But here's the important mathematical fact, Maria, and that is...
Oh, good. We got a mathematical fact coming up. Okay, kids, pay attention.
When you put all law enforcement agencies together, they have seized more fentanyl to kill every man, woman, and child in the United States of America. All it takes is 2 milligrams for it to be a lethal dose.
Wow.
And once again, the Biden administration is doing...
Wow. And all we have to do is give that to every single person in the United States at the same time. Is that what we're doing? But that's a mathematical. That is a mathematical. They have I mean, it wasn't English what he said. It didn't make sense. He didn't finish his sentence. But yeah, fentanyl. But you know what? This tells us that Joe Biden's CBP is doing a fantastic job. Look at all the drugs that they're seizing. Thank you, Joe Biden.
Doing nothing.
Like drugs didn't exist under Trump.
To stop this. And so Texas, once again, is stepping up, and we are going after the cartels, seizing this. There was a video that was on Fox News just yesterday about how Texas DPS officers are tracking down these people coming across the border, and it was showing they were dealing with the drug cartels themselves. And so these aren't unaccompanied minors coming across the border. This has been an escalation of the drug cartels coming across the border. So Texas is engaged in a massive law enforcement effort to crack down on some of the most dangerous criminals in the United States.
Yeah, and last year was a record number of overdoses by drugs in the United States. 81,000, according to the CDC. 81,000 drug overdoses in the U.S. last year. That's a record. And that's Biden's fault.
Governor, thanks very much for your leadership on this. You stand tall in the face of really this breaking of laws and ignorance as it relates to the impact here. Thanks very much for being here this morning, Governor Greg Abbott in Texas. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Maria.
Quick break, and then coming up, exclusive reporting from Peter Schweitzer.
No, what about Ron Johnson? Peter Schweitzer is the Clinton cash guy. We'll ignore that, and we'll go right to Ronnie Johnson, and then we'll be done, I think, for the day. What time is it here? It's early still. It's 8:04. So we've been broadcasting for about an hour and a half already. Let's spill some COVFEFE with Ronnie Johnson. Senator from Wisconsin.
The Committee for a Responsible Budget. Joining me right now to take us behind.
Did she say Committee for Irresponsible Budget?
Behind all of these negotiations is Wisconsin Senator Ron Johnson.
Oh, I don't want to hear about negotiations. I want to hear conspiracy theories. Tell us what Putin is telling you to say.
He sits on the Senate Budget, Homeland Relations, and Foreign Affairs Committees. Senator, good to see you this morning. Thanks very much for being here. You have said you will vote no on both of these plans. Tell us why.
Good morning, Maria. Well,
because I'm a Republican, and we are contrarians, and we just don't want Joe Biden to have any successes, and if it hurts the country, so what?
From Nancy Pelosi, I thought it was going to be the one where she said you had to pass Obamacare to figure out what's in it. And, of course, Chuck Schumer tried to do the same thing last week. He actually tried to proceed to a bill that wasn't negotiated. There was no legislation whatsoever, and still they want us to vote to proceed to that particular bill. The fact of the matter is, Maria, we're over $28.5 trillion in debt. The Democrats, on a completely partisan basis, just passed about a $1.9 trillion supposedly COVID relief package. $700 billion of that isn't even spent till 2022 through 2028. And so we're more mortgaging our kids' future. We can't.
So now we're worried about the debt. Before COVID, Trump put the yearly deficit up to $1 trillion. $1 trillion, especially with his tax cut. Of the money that they estimated that the tax cut would bring in additional tax revenue, after cutting the taxes, I never understood that either. Of that money that they anticipated and said would be coming back into the coffers because of the stimulation to the economy, 5% ended up going to the federal government. 5% of the trillions they said was going to be produced by the tax cut.
Continue to deficit spend the way Democrats want to do.
Here's the deal, folks. A hot cake costs us $20 to produce. We're going to cut the cost to $15. And that way, we'll be selling more hotcakes and just watch that money roll in.
So one of the things I've been talking about is the fact that you have that $700 billion of, it's not COVID relief, it's new entitlement programs, further mortgage our kids' future. Why don't we
Like I said, entitlement programs are things that you're entitled to. That's fine.
Purpose that amount.
The way I think he just complained about the money that people get for their kids.
Democrats want to do so. So one of the things I've been talking about is the fact that you have that $700 billion of, it's not COVID relief, it's new entitlement programs, further mortgage our kids' future. Why don't we repurpose?
So we're mortgaging our kids' future by giving them money so that they can eat and have a future. Got it.
That amount of money and spend that on infrastructure, because we do need to upgrade our infrastructure.
Oh, so we do need to spend money. We don't need to solve child poverty. I got it. Okay.
Sure, everybody agrees on that, but we shouldn't be doing it with more borrowing, more deficit spending.
Oh, we should just raise taxes. Got it.
Yeah. They've got real gimmicks here to make it look like it's $3.5 trillion, but Maya McGinnis tells me it's actually $5.5 trillion. The Committee for a Responsible Budget writes, in order to fit these proposals within a $3.5 trillion budget target, lawmakers intend to have some policies expire before the end of the 10-year budget window, using this criticized budget gimmick to hide the actual cost. How much does this plan actually cost? $3.5 trillion or $5.5 trillion?
My guess is at least $5.5 trillion, and that's just a 10-year budget.
Oh, that's a good guess. Good job guessing. It's not like you have any resources that you could use, like the CBO or the Senate staff, to actually get that number. But yeah, that's a nice guess. You know what my guess is? 40 trillion. How about that? It's a guess.
Window. If you actually do the net present value in terms of what's the long-term cost, it's far higher. And of course, what they're doing is they're creating new entitlement programs. They did that with the COVID relief bill. They're going to be doing it with this reconciliation package. This
Okay, tell us about those entitlement programs. What are they?
Reckless tax and spending spree. So
it's reckless to solve child hunger? That's reckless behavior by the Democrats? Is that?
They will do is they will put in, create a new entitlement program. They're going to say it's going to run out in 2 years or 3 years, whatever it takes to get a score within that $3.5 trillion mind-numbing figure. I mean, that's how out of control this is I guess they've determined that the American...
So Ron Johnson is letting us know that his mind easily numbed.
Public simply won't tolerate more than $3.5 trillion, but they'll fit the scoring of this thing within that $3.5 trillion, recognizing the fact that these programs, once implemented, they will never go away. So that's why Maya McGinnis comes up with about 5 to 5.5 trillion. But I would argue that even understates it. So my final point is, I don't know why any Republican would cooperate with them in passing this reckless spend and tax spree. Because what they're doing by pulling out the infrastructure, the thing that everybody agrees on, that's going to create a $500, $600, $700 billion hole that Democrats will fill with more entitlement spending. I don't know why any Republican would cooperate with that.
So real quick, people want to know, are they going to be able to push through these sky-high spending levels as well as much higher taxes? They want to take capital gains all the way up to 43.4%. Will they be able to get it through?
If 50 Democrats vote for it, they'll be able to do that, yes.
Yay!
That's, that's budget reconciliation.
We're waiting on Joe Manchin for more commentary on this. Will he hold the line? We're going to take a break.
We're waiting on Joe Manchin. Yep. That is the theme of 2021. We are waiting on Joe Manchin, and then we will be waiting on Kirsten Sinema. Okay, so Bongo R.E. Johnson. Bongo R.E. Johnson. Bongo Johnson. Oh, I see. There's someone in here called Bongo. Bongo. I was going to hang up, but what do we got, Bongo? No one watches or listens or listen to your lie. Oh, this is Couch. Listens to my lies. It's my. Are we talking about me? Or are we talking about? Ron Johnson? Are we talking about Maria? Who are we talking about here, Bongo? No one watches or listen to your lies. We'll see if Bongo's even still around or if he just jumped in here. We got a 7-second delay this morning, thanks to Restream. So we'll just wait on that. We'll see if, if there's any response from Bongo here. Is that the first thing Bongo has said? Who knows? Bongo may be a sensible person that just doesn't pay much attention when they type. We all make typos. That's how it works. Bongo, anything? Anyone? Bongo? Bueller. All right, that's it for the morning broadcast, folks. Probably nothing later today. Oh, I know, definitely nothing later today. I got a Hawkes game later on at about 8:40 tonight. So a full day of nonsense for me, including a couple of auditions. So that's good news. And thank you very much for joining me this morning for spilling a little COVFEFE. I feel like I've accomplished something. And by that, I just mean drinking, but mostly COVFEFE. A little bit of silk milk, a little bit of soy coffee creamer, because I'm a soy boy, and just a fifth of vodka. So I think I'm ready for the day, and I hope you are too. Guys, enjoy yourself. Be good to yourselves. Be good to each other. And most importantly, be good to me.